My son, love you.
Bye.
Bye. My son, love you.
Bye. Bye.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you start an episode.
Oh, for sure.
Yes, yes.
Gentlemen,
Yes.
Happy
Oh,
New
yes.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Cheers
Happy
to
New
you
Year.
guys.
Cheers,
Cheers.
cheers.
Oh, don't break
This is
it.
a delayed post, but we got it.
Cheers to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 8.
Episode 8.
Yes. Yes.
Good to be back.
Good to be back. A lot has happened for us, Christmas and all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
So
true.
great to be back with you guys and getting everything done.
Whew.
We have our creative director snapping a few shots. Really appreciate her.
Yes,
really
yes.
appreciate her.
Oh,
So,
man.
Yeah, we're here to get things rolling.
Yes.
You guys know how the vibe is. Like, you get thoughts coming through your head, social media, so many things come up, and you get ideas on top of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And something I realized we did not, from I'd say episode 2.
Yeah.
We said, "What's the purpose?" Dad's unscripted. We should have really talked about our upbringing.
Yeah.
We should have talked about our upbringing and how our upbringing, shaped us to be who we are right now and things like that. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to have a conversation about our upbringing. For all who don't know, we're all of Jamaican background, Jamaican descent.
Mhm.
We'll leave it up to you guys to know who was born and raised there. Who was born and raised and who was just, yeah. We'll leave that
Oh,
up.
gosh.
But before we even go in, let's do some introductions. I'm OC.
Dizzle Daps.
Ras.
And
Salute.
welcome to What's the Purpose?
Yes.
Dad's Unscripted. So we're going to get into that topic of our upbringing.
Yeah.
We should have got into earlier, but hey, we had such a good time recording all those other episodes that it just
We forgot.
We forgot.
Yeah.
We forgot what it is. So
sometimes you just go with the spur of the
we
moment.
go with the spirit. Yeah.
And this one is, after having our check-in moment and all this makes sense to come back to this and talk about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's no time like the present, right?
Yeah, true that.
Especially coming into the new year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, first episode of the year. Let's get going. Let's see how it goes. And pretty much fill that in as far as like our upbringing. And, I guess I could start myself, born and raised in Jamaica, went to high school in Jamaica and then had to move to Canada.
Just to punch that in, you already know we already know who to mark him as. He was born in Jamaica. So again, we still left to guess.
Still left to guess. Sorry, you're
See,
right.
Put in you made them guess. You already gave them the answer.
My fault. Edit that out.
No, we're not going to do that.
No, we're not gonna- my fault.
We're just going to show them.
I was born and raised in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And when I reflect back on my upbringing,
Mhm.
I'm grateful. I'm very, very grateful
Yeah.
because my mom and dad did do a really great job. And this might sound weird, or you might make sense of this. You know how them say, them take fire and come a yard?
Yeah.
I'm thankful that my parents, more so my mom, really did her part where she's like, oh, them have this up here, so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one day we can bring this back down, so, and,
Yeah.
incorporate it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that
Mhm.
because I was talking to somebody the other day and I ended up having a picture of my house in Jamaica
Mhm.
and I showed it to them and they were like, they have houses like this in Jamaica? Don't get me wrong. Full disclosure. I don't have no big dirty mansion or nothing like that. But it's still,
yeah.
it's a decent, as I said, mom and dad did the best that they could do.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a blessing in that sense. And funny enough, all of us as Jamaican men have almost, as much as we have different upbringings, we all had the same upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
Our parents were disciplinarians. They didn't take crap. They were definitely like, I'm going to give you the best that I can give you.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I take away that I'm trying to incorporate with my kids now.
Mhm.
Now being a dad, how many times have you like, I sound like my parents?
All the time.
Yes.
I am like,
yes.
down to yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I sound like my parents right now, and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh. But I guess that's the upbringing. It's shaped.
Yeah,
Like
it
you're
did. It
shaped
did.
by it, and
It
it's
did.
like, yo, how did this happen? Because I remember
Mhm.
saying when I was a youth, yo, I'll never be like my parents. I'll never be like my parents.
Yeah,
And then that quickly went out the door after me done have picnic.
of course, of course. Always does, right?
Oh man.
But the way
Out the
that they raise you is ultimately in your best interest. Well, for us,
Yo, I think for us,
yeah,
because we're with like, yo, you said it last episode. We're privileged. Like we're like, granted, yeah, no silver spoon in the mouth type thing, whatever.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
like we're blessed
Yeah.
compared to what could have or what can like blessed.
Mhm.
yeah.
Trust
True
me,
that, true
very
that.
blessed. Don't take it for granted. And that's something that I guess part of my upbringing taught me real early.
Mhm.
Don't take nothing for granted.
Yeah.
Because similar to where we live now, you can go a couple kilometers or maybe less than a kilometer and you'll see big, nice houses, whatever. And then a couple kilometers, you're seeing like unhoused, and it's just like, yo, their whole entire life is in a cart, and it's like, yo,
Yeah.
what is happening here?
Mhm, mhm.
For being upbringing in Jamaica,
Yeah.
it was similar, but not that you could hide it type of thing.
Yeah.
But it's like I remember my house would be here, other houses here, and you have the gully. And people
Yeah.
live out in the gully,
yeah,
and
yeah,
blessing of the Jamaican weather, like you don't have to worry about cool.
Mhm.
Too tough. So it's like, yo, you put up your zinc shack and
But
Right.
you have to
You
worry
know,
about rain and wind.
but that's why you have yo, why you think you have the zinc shack?
The zinc.
Because
the zinc
tarp is
helps.
not gonna cut it. You have to have zinc
Yeah.
that it runs off.
Mhm.
And then it's amazing with upbringing. And tag in anytime you guys have a story. Cause I remember growing up, I always was like, yo, what them big drum here for? What are these big drums all around our house for?
Yeah.
And it's not until I got older and I'm like, oh, it's to catch rainwater.
Yeah.
Think about where we live right now. The rain just flows.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
no catching no water.
Yeah.
But
It goes in the sewer.
it goes in the sewer.
Yeah.
But back home, it's like you're catching, like there was one drum here. And, I realized later on, I was like, yo, why can't we open it? Why is there a thing to go in? And when it opens, you realize there's a mesh in there that catches all the bugs. And it's like a whole process. It's a whole process.
Yeah.
That as a kid, you don't know nothing.
Yeah.
You don't know
that's
nothing.
True.
You just
that's
want to
true.
play with it. You just want to be like, yo, what's this? What's that? But it shows the ingenuity of like, yo, we still have water running in the house.
Yeah.
But if me not have a PFE,
Fear feet, then
and the Almighty sending it down,
Yeah. Might as well catch it.
And
yo,
even-
you're catching it.
Even touching on the whole rain thing, and you're talking about like the zinc.
Yeah.
Like for me, growing up, the sweetest time is when the rain was falling because you could hear the melodies and the beats that the rain created on the zinc. Like I didn't grow up with the concrete top. I grew up with the zinc.
Zinc, yeah.
So you would hear it once ting 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 ting. Shh. And it's like falling asleep to that
Yeah.
is the sweetest
There
sounds.
is, oh my gosh.
That's how you're a musician, eh?
Yeah,
Early.
bro.
Started from early.
I'm telling
If
you.
you don't know this, this is our
Mention
on-site musician right here.
On-site
Eh? One day,
musician.
one episode, we're gonna have him serenade us.
Of course. His guitar is back there. We're looking at it right now.
But really, yo, it was like the best thing as a kid. Like one of my fondest memories is when the rain was falling because you could hear when it starts, you hear the 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop. And then all of a sudden when the rain come down hard, you're like, yo.
So, do you still have like fond memories of even when it's raining here?
No, it's not the same.
It's not
No.
It's
the
not
same.
the same.
Yeah, there's, you know
Like-
what? Insulation is a hell of a thing, eh?
Yeah, it's troublesome.
'Cause I don't know when it's raining. Like it's the kids will say, "Daddy, it's raining," or
Mhm.
I'll look outside and see that it's raining because I physically cannot hear it. But when you're
Yes.
back home in
Yes.
Jamaica, you
Because
know the rain's coming.
Even if you have like, because I feel like maybe I was young that didn't see a lot of the experiences. Like I remember growing up in a house with concrete,
Mm.
like partial memory when I was younger, and then we moved to big up to all my people in Spanish Town. I moved to like this neighborhood called Marchpen,
Mm.
and then when I got to Marchpen, it was more like a in between, like a board with concrete,
Yeah.
but it was like stages of going into different elements. So once the rainfall, the zinc does not connect to the concrete.
Right.
You have that space in between, and then all you could do is hear. And sometimes you just feel the gust of wind, and you're like, "Ooh, it's raining." Now over here, you're in the house, and
You
you're
don't know
like,
nothing. You don't hear
"You
nothing.
know nothing." You step outside, it's like, "Oh my god,
It was
Yeah.
raining.
it's rain!"
Trust me.
But
Yeah.
then you know, you heard it, you feel it, you smelt it. That was like the vibe. Once that rain started, he was just in the house, just chilling, listening to the beats. For me, he was listening to the beats of the zinc.
Funny you mention that, because there is something to be said about after a rainfall smell.
Oh,
Yeah.
There is something to be
Yes,
said
yes,
about after the
yes.
rainfall smell, and it's like, yo, hold on. And obviously, but
Freshness.
here's the part that's funny. It all depends on where you are.
Yes, 100%.
So where I was, we were in more like the town area, city kind of
Mhm.
thing. But if we go check grandpa, go up to grandpa, up in the bush, that smell hits
Different.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's a matter of like, because he had all the animals in the back and all that manure just gets saturated with the poo, and then the grass, like, just, it wasn't bad.
Plethora of smells.
Yo, it was a lot
An
of
array of
smells that you're
smells.
like, yo, woo, what
Oh,
is
gosh.
that?
Yeah,
So yeah,
man.
the upbringing there really played a part in.
Yeah, it did. And like, I've come to terms with, I guess, the mentality difference, because growing up in Spanish Town wasn't the nicest neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's the
let's
stigma
think
was
of,
real.
we're in Canada, so let's think of like a Malver and a Jane Finch on steroids.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, in my viewpoint, that's what it is to me. Like,
Because Spanish Town more, I know it's town, but
mhm.
for anybody who needs reference, there in Jamaica, there's the city and there's country.
Right.
Where's Spanish Town?
Spanish Town is, because remember,
is it
Spanish Town was
Midway?
the old capital, so it's
Right.
literally like a city, but it doesn't feel like a city.
Okay.
Like, in my view, it doesn't feel like a city. Like when you go to St. Andrew and you drive in a New Kingston, that feels like a city.
Yeah.
But you drive into Spanish Town, feels like town.
Vintage, like
a vintage
town.
town.
Okay, got it. So it had a country feel to it with a city. Like,
outside of driving outside, like going to like Olaba, all that feels like you're going in, I guess, in modern terms, the suburbs. Like where I was living, it was the hood.
Right.
In my view.
Yeah.
Other people may say something else, but from my standpoint, when all of the people that I grew up with is no longer in the neighborhood and they're migrated to the States or to Canada, it's the hood. Let's be real.
That's so funny.
So growing up there was an element of toughness that you had
Street
to
presence.
have. Yeah,
Street
street.
presence.
Not even just the presence, the awareness. So migrating to Canada, watching the street awareness in Toronto, I was like, y'all wild. Like, y'all don't have to live like this.
It's like it's a choice versus.
It's like a choice versus like
what reality
is coming from where I come from. You know what I mean? So it was like, it's
yes and no.
Yes and no. Like, systematically, I get it.
So we're gonna have a
Yes,
we're gonna have
yes.
a pivot point here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If we haven't realized, no, we can decipher who has born and raised in Jamaica, and then who has visited, because you're saying
first generation Canadian.
So when he said what he just said, I saw your face kind of. What's your take on that?
So I grew up here. Grew up in Scarborough. Went to Scarborough Gen Hospital. So I grew up in Malvern, and that was just a whole thing in itself. The upbringing is just different over here, bro. It's so people would say that like, you guys got this, you guys got that, but you got to understand it's the mentality anywhere you go, right? You have these sections of the city, that have certain mentalities. And remember, you have a lot of first generation Canadians. Our parents will be coming from Spanish Town, Mandeville,
Manchester,
Clarendon, Maypen, so you're coming from certain, you're Kingston, so you're coming with a certain mentality, and you're coming here, and you're around people who have similar mentalities. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of street presence here as well in certain areas, So as much as
I'd say washed down.
No, see, I wouldn't say it was washed down.
Not
Here's
washed
why
down?
I
Okay,
say it was
okay.
a choice, is because we came from that element and then came here. And a lot of us came here with the same mentality, not realizing that you don't necessarily have to be that mentality. You can level up. And that's not to say, because there's a big difference. Like when I look at like growing up in Jamaica versus growing up here, we had a state of richness in Jamaica that we did not realize until we came here. And richness, in what I'm saying, is richness of life.
Yeah.
In the fact that you had a mango tree in your yard.
Yo,
you have a sauce up tree over here next door neighbor.
Yeah, you
next
don't need to go to
neighbor.
the grocery store.
You don't necessarily need
have
to
to.
if you have to.
If you have to.
And that's why, I shout out to Protege when he said into the song that, poverty isn't real. And I was like, on a real level, when you think about it deeply, it's not truly that real because there's fruit trees everywhere.
Yeah.
And the essence of like, you can farm.
Not just the produce, but like the animals.
The animals. And there was that richness.
You can easily do that. And it doesn't take up, you could be, obviously this is where the stigma comes in because unfortunately, if one man is prospering, unfortunately there isn't that, show me how you do that. It's more or less like, look on this idiot, go do this and do that. Oh my God, thief him. There's that unfortunate side.
That's the same mentality. That I'm like, when you came here, you didn't have to bring that same mentality.
Right.
You can choose differently.
But but here, like for example, there's no trees you can't just go and just if you're homeless and you're struggling, you're on your face, bro, you got to make some shake. Granted, we do have like welfare, we do have certain things here where so people are getting like government assistance, homes, and all type of thing. But then you got to remember, some people just it's just it's mental. It's mental.
Yes,
inside out. Inside out.
It's a mental thing.
Inside out.
All these things are because you could put two people in the same environment, and you'll get two different products.
100% for two different products.
100%.
Two different products.
Because right now, as you just said that, the biggest takeaway that I had coming up to Canada and realizing, which is to your point, is like, no trees or nothing. Because I remember in my neighborhood, for the summertime, we didn't go home because there was the apple tree, there was a mango. Like we had access to fruits, the berries, the blackberries and the red berries. We didn't know they were raspberries at the time, but that's what they are. And you just pick those and eat those and you're out for the whole day. You don't need to go back home. Obviously, you find a hose, you get that drink and you're out the whole day.
Yeah.
Coming up here now, you're right. There isn't that access. But you know what? The access is available. I wasn't even thinking welfare. But that's an option too. But it's to know like, unless that has changed in Jamaica, because it's been, I am not updated on this, but coming up here when I did and know that I can just go to this place that, at the time, not realizing what it was, but it was an employment agency. And realizing that like, okay, hey, I am looking for work. And they say, okay, in my case, they said, do you have steel toe boots? I said, yes, I do. Or correction, at the time I said, no, I don't. And I had to go find steel toe boots. And just to know that I could go to a Value Village or a thrift store and you just got to check. You just got to look and hopeful that they have it. And if they have it, bless. My situation was a little bit different. A gentleman from church said, hey, I have an extra pair. Here you go. And you can go. And yes, the work might not have been the most, but it's work. But then here's the part that's funny. It's still less, in my personal opinion, still less grueling work than the day labor work that would possibly come up in Jamaica. Because when man say, we need some laborer to move the mall from over there. So, and when I say mall, I mean gravel. Just for,
Right. Small stones. Right.
Need to move it from Yasso to over there. So, with the wheelbarrow or by bucket.
Yes.
I remember when it was like bucket and man's, that's why men's shoulders were like chiseled out because they just carried it.
Just full of veins.
Just full of veins. I did not have to experience that coming up here. It was more like you put on your steel toe boots, you have your clothes, whatever. And all right, we need these boxes. I was in warehouse. I remember driving all the way to Mississauga. Didn't know Mississauga at the time. It was an hour drive, felt like 3.5 hours because I didn't know. Just that dynamic switch.
Yeah.
Because I did work in Jamaica for a little bit, but I was blessed that it was more of a administrative office environment
Mhm.
White collar type of
versus
thing.
right
Yeah.
versus a
Blue collar.
outdoors blue collar type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
So getting experience with both, I'm like, ooh.
You want to know what? And
Mhm.
also bringing that topic, that's something about my upbringing. Well, not how I was raised, but something that I personally took on as a youngin was that laziness. Like there was a point in time where I wanted fast money, and if it wasn't that, I didn't want to do nothing else.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
like I remember there was a point in time where you're transitioning, and there's some people who know I'm talking about transitioning from trying to get fast money to actually saying, all right, like I'm
You
gonna
go
go
work.
work and
Yeah.
ray.
Mhm.
And I remember just not having the drive to go. Like I would just sit at home and be on my face and complain. And then now as a grown man with kids and I'm doing my thing now, I'm kind of like, oh, there was no excuse.
Yeah.
There was no excuse.
Do you feel kind of fool?
Of course, but
I know I felt fool.
it made me who I am now.
Yeah.
Because now, like, back to what I was saying before about taking things for granted.
Mhm.
There was a point in time where I went through, when I say I worked every kind of job from garbage to packing boxes, there was a point in time I was just shaking it, working out in cold weather, rain, this, that,
Word.
doing construction, working in 40 plus heat. You're down in the pit. You feel like you're in hell, bro. It's hot. Hot, bro. And you can't go in there your little slippers and your thing. You have to be in your boots and your jeans and you have to be protected, right?
Yeah.
So you're hot down there. And then to where I'm at now, I know where it is.
Yeah.
I know where it is.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
trust
just
me.
like, and I hear guys complaining sometimes. I'm like, bro,
You don't
I'm
know.
glad I had to go through that.
Yeah.
Because it put me in perspective. Because I still have my times where I get up and I'm like, let's face it, we're all like entrepreneur minded. I was just even talking to you about how I was like, look how much things you're trying.
Yeah.
There's no way you can't be successful. You're always putting your hand in something. You're always trying to put your hand in something, right? There's no way you can't be successful. So you had that mentality. Sometimes when you have to wake up and go to work, like, yo, blood fire. Can't wait till I can make it happen doing what I want to do.
Doing what you want to do. So it doesn't feel like work.
Exactly. It's funny because I think that mentality came from tying it back to upbringing. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, it wasn't until I moved to the west end of the city, I realized something. I was like, bro. And even doing all the things that I was doing, I still had to shake myself up because I was like, in Scarborough, I didn't see it as much, but I know it was there, but it wasn't the same. So growing up in Jamaica, you have the Iglas, them.
Yeah, man.
Man
Hustlers, yo.
Hustler. Like my grandmother did the same thing too. Like there's a point in time when I remember where she would have like Wrigley's, oranges, bananas, blah blah blah. She'd have her little stall, sit up outside of the gate, and then people would walk by going to school, be like, "Oh yeah, give me a packer, give me a bop." And I was like,
Peanut man them,
juice man them, hop on the bus, like that mentality of always having something to do and grind at has always been in me from I was a kid. So coming here, I was always on that. I have to say, I agree. There's a point in time where I got complacent because I'm like, all right, this one thing is working. I'm just going to keep plugging at it. But then, and I was like, that's not you. That's never been you. Why are you doing it? Then I moved to the west end of the city, and I was like, yo, I drove by and there's a lot of Latinos that was there, and I'm seeing them selling their tacos, their food on the side, and I'm going,
hustling. Trust me.
The mentality is here, and they're still upholding it here, and I'm like, yo, all right, it's time to go back into that bag.
Yeah, you got shaken,
and I got shaken, and I was like, okay, wake up time. We still can do it here too. We just got to do it it's
more. You have to be more
right way.
Well, so right way is correct, but I would almost say more strategic way.
Yes.
Because when I went to Jamaica a couple years ago, we went out with my cousin, and we're on the road doing this, doing that, and then say hunger lick you, and it was late. It just so happened to be a Friday night, and Friday night the drum pans and the soup pots are out.
Yes.
And the part that's funny, this is 11:30 at night, Montego Bay, but the streets were bustling.
Can't get hungry.
You can't like, yo, we just came out the car and just sniffed. And we're like, okay, we got to go that way because it was trailing across and it got stronger and stronger until we found the jerk pan.
Yeah.
And was able to find food. Up here,
Did you follow your nose?
follow your nose.
No GPS, just follow your nose.
Follow your nose, dog. So that type of dynamic is available
man.
up here.
Yes.
But you got to be creative.
Yes.
Because
I'm
side note, but still in line with that hustle.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing and talking to someone who set up shop for Caravana.
Yeah.
Like a Caravana event
Mhm.
or some type of event that it's like, hey, it's a weekend love.
Just-
So Afrofest
even
or
that-
whatever.
Shout out to the con soup, man.
Yo, I was about to say, I was thinking about it.
Yo, he
shout out to
makes
him.
money.
Chelsea, everybody
Shout
knows
out
him. He's
to
a
him.
legend, yo.
He's a
Shout out
legend.
Shout out to the
con
con
soup, yo.
Yo, because that's where I was like, ooh, he was
Down
on
on
it.
Harbor Front.
Yeah.
He
He
was
was
getting-
everywhere.
Con soup.
Everywhere.
trust me.
Yeah.
Every big party,
And
this man was there.
He had like it looked like a push cart.
Yeah,
It wasn't a wagon. It looked like he built it.
Mm-hmm.
And like just something like that where it's funny, like the entrepreneurial spirit,
Yes.
he wasn't getting into the technicals of like, boy, all right, so I'm gonna buy this much this and this much this, and he didn't have it broken down in that type of way.
He probably was, but not in the
Intricate ways, right?
Put it this way,
Yeah.
not in the corporate way of doing entrepreneur mindset. I think he did it in the way of hustler's mentality.
Right.
And that's where I think that transition to that corporate style of thinking and I guess moderation of how you handle things.
Yo, sidebar, yo.
What?
This is why I feel like this is a topic for another day, but this is why I feel like husband and wife or that go into business together are so beautiful, bro.
Ooh.
Because that aspect, sometimes the man just has the hustle mentality.
Yes.
But the wife is more strategic and the bookkeeping and the this and the this and the that.
Yes,
So it's such a topic we have to touch on. Because I'm like, he came out and I just thought about that. I'm like, I don't know if his wife is doing it with her, if he has a wife or whatever.
Yes.
But that, like, you got to go into how intricate and how beautiful
That
that
could be,
is.
yeah,
You know,
for
that's
sure.
an actual good
That's
topic to
a
hit on.
tapestry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
My bad. Finish what you're saying. Finish what you're saying.
but yeah, I don't think he has the entrepreneurial mindset of a corporate identity, but he definitely does have it because to be able to go to just know when these parties are and to be able to be there
that part,
at the
that
same
part
time,
makes sense.
he has it. You know what I mean?
So the part that's funny, that part is almost the simple part because people are going to be talking about it.
Yes.
But I'm referring to like, yo, all right, so I know say I partied on a harbor front. All right. You know, say what? So it's in my head, it's like, all right, how much I would
how
love
much
to
ground
know.
could he cover?
Not just how much ground would he cover. One pot of soup. How much that cost for me? Like
Okay.
one pot of soup are gonna cost me hypothetical example, $100 for make.
Mhm.
But then it's gonna cost me $50 for get there.
Mhm.
Hypothetical. So
And then
for the
cups
day.
and for spoons. And
Right,
for
that's
this
what I'm
and
saying.
for that.
$100,
Right.
$50 for get there with all the stuff. So let's say call him $200 just to reach the event. But he
Mhm.
knows, boy, I can easily done off, 200 cup of soup or give or take.
Right.
And I know who he is, never ordered soup from him. You remember how much a cup was?
Right, like
$5.
$5.
Yeah.
So do that simple math of 300 cups times 5. That's $1,500.
Mhm.
Is that right? Yes, that's right. 3 times 5 is 50.
Mhm.
So $1,500 and it cost him 200. Let's even say it cost him 300.
Mhm.
That's great returns
Right.
on his
Mhm.
investment, right?
Yeah.
And it goes back again to the hustle mentality of, because I had that in my upbringing. I was doing that. I was selling
Mhm.
straws and
Right.
catch and tick. No, what? Oh my gosh. Tick, not tic tac. Tick. Yeah, you know what I'm talking
Tic-tac.
about.
It don't look a white one.
No,
No,
man,
not
this
the
was
white one.
chocolate.
It's
This was chocolate.
chocolate.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to
That was
remember
very
the name.
Caribbean. They don't have that up here.
Yes,
That was
no.
very Caribbean. So I would be doing all of that, right? But I would never have the mindset of like cost versus return, right?
Mhm.
To be able to make sure I know
Profitable.
I know I'm profitable. If I sell it for this, I'm supposed to make this. I need to take back my 100 and then that profit goes somewhere. But I'm a kid, so I didn't know any better. Now as an adult, I don't touch that money. That money goes right into the account. It sits there, it builds, rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
So it goes back to that hustle mentality. And something that is interesting that we can dive into right now, or I feel like it can be its own topic,
Yeah.
is with that hustle mentality,
Mm-hmm.
the unfortunate thing that comes with that is more of a survivor mentality
Ooh.
versus thriving mentality. Especially, using what you said, Ras, about the Higlas,
Yeah.
growing up, where a lot of times, especially when you go to high school, you get to know those people. You get to know who they are.
True.
See them coming up. You see them out in the road and this and that, and you interact with them. And from my observation, I remember one man one day, he showed me $1,000 all in coins. Keep in mind, Jamaican currency, $20 is a coin, right?
Right.
So he had $1,000 in coins right then and there, and I'm like, "Yo, that's good money." He's like, "Yeah, but that done already because we have to go buy up thing and this and that." And again, as much as there's a hustle, I say this respectfully, just based on observation, there wasn't that management.
Right.
There wasn't that management,
Fair.
which I myself had my own challenges with.
Yeah.
Now, as a reasonable adult, really accepting the responsibility of adulting, I'm not blaming my upbringing. At one point, I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
At one point, I was like, if only.
Yes.
We've all said, if only.
Yes.
If only this, if only that, blah, blah, blah. I now take full responsibility. Everything had to happen as how it happened in order to get to where we are right now.
Yeah.
Right now,
And even touching on that too, it's like we had growing up in the elements that we grew up in. You know what I mean? And I talk about it to like friends too. It's like we knew violence, we knew guns, drugs, and because women.
Yeah.
We knew that. And even today, modern day, in our music, it's the same thing. Let's be honest. Weed, guns, women. That's been the formula. And there's a point in time where I'm looking at it going, I can't blame.
It's funny that you say that. All of those points that you just said, it's like there's a circle around it. And above that circle, it's hustle. Because you're hustling for every single one of those things.
Every single one of them. And it's like, we could talk about like the beatings we got and talk about all that good stuff. And it's like, oh man, my dad did just that. My mom did that to me. You know what I mean? Like,
did you get beat? What?
Oh,
he's like, what?
Yo,
really?
My mom is.
No, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You know what? I got. Okay, all right. Let's do tallies here.
Mm-hmm.
I probably lost automatically because I think my mom, she beat me once in my life. Once. But it was a licking. So funny enough, every time I tell this story, I get laughed at because they're like, "You're an idiot." Simply meaning, she told me, she's like, "Come here, take off your pants, go lie down in the bed, and I'll be right in there." Every time I tell that story, they're like, "You're an idiot. Why did you not run? Why did you not run?" And in my head, I'm like, why make it worse for myself?
Yeah.
If I run, it's gonna be worse.
Yeah.
So I got one beat. That's the one beating that I got. And to make it worse, it was the every word belt.
Oh.
How many times did I tell you not to? Don't move your hand. Move your hand. If you met this thing, lick me. If you met this thing, lick me. What?
No, move your hand. Yo.
So I got licked once. So I lost already. I already know I got lost.
I don't even know how many times my mom.
I don't even know.
So you
my
guys
mom had a wooden spoon like this thick. Bro, that thing, I used to pray for that thing to broke, Yo, I remember one time, I think it was me or my sister tried to hide it.
Not a good idea.
No.
Not a good idea.
Yo, that was crazy.
I'm already past one.
I
and I've done some acts that I got beat for.
Yeah.
One of them I still, to this day, I still go,
was unnecessary.
that was unnecessary. Two of them, not even gonna lie. Two of them, I was like, that was unnecessary. One ties back to your story in, I forgot which episode it is, but it's like you walking in on something that you have no idea what's happening, and then you lay down the belt off of something that you didn't know. Because I remember my dad came home one night and saw us like arguing, but what we were doing, we were mimicking the wrestling match we just watched, and then he came in and saw that, and then immediately started saying that we were lying, and then we got whooped for it. And then my mom come home and lost it on him. Because you're like, they're not lying to you. this is what they were doing. Because I was trying to be Shawn Michaels. He was like
Brett the Hitman Hart or something. Who knows?
And we were like, yo, sweet chin music. Bam. Bam, bam, bam. And he came in inside and he was like, oh. Boop, 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 boop.
Did you apologize after you found
Apollo Creed?
Hey.
Did he apologize in a way that you knew was an apology, but he didn't formally come out and say it was sorry?
Bro.
Because you know there's always the one where it's like, you ever see that thing where just come. You guys hungry? Food dinner already. Dinner ready. You know?
Hey, I think mine, funny enough, I'm going out to road. I'm going on road. You want to come?
Yeah, none of that.
I'm going on road. I'm going to do a delivery. You want to come?
I was cheap as a mother. And the other one I got beaten for is me defending myself. And those are the two where I was like, bro.
So you're saying every other one you deserve?
Every other one,
So here's the part.
No. Hold on, wait. I gotta tell you a story right now. Because
we're wrapping up.
We're wrapping up. Go
ahead.
So my mom. So one time in my house, I saw a mouse in the basement. Right. So I'm like, I ran upstairs. I'm like, Mom, I saw a mouse in the basement. She's like, come. I'm gonna teach you not to lie. And I got beatings. Yo. She said, no, come. I'm gonna teach you not to lie. I just open up the jar. Also gently open up the jar to go grab the ones. Please believe I saw that mouse again. And I was like, Bridget, your secret's safe for me. The mouse lived nice in the house for a minute before you got caught.
Oh my God. I'm gonna teach you not to lie. All right. I'm gonna put a reminder to talk to your mom about that. Because that's like that. I'm gonna teach you.
Bet you she's not gonna remember.
Oh no!
Bet you she's not gonna remember.
Of course not.
Man.
I'm gonna teach you not to lie.
I can remember one that I deserve this one. My mom slapped me upside the head. And it was because.
Sorry. Are we talking get like slapped on the mouth and stuff like that, or like beats?
No, this one was like a pop, pop, pop.
Because I've gotten those ones in the car. Like
that was my fault. Because she was like, when somebody came knocking at the gate, and she's like, "Tell them I'm not here." And I was like, "All right." I was like, "Wait, Miss Sylvie, woman said she's not there." I walked in the house and she went, "Bop, bop, bop." And I was like, oh, snap.
Yeah, you deserve that one.
I deserve that one.
That one.
Said, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I learned from that day forward. When she said it, I should say it.
Say, Mommy's not here.
Mommy's not here.
Mommy
said she's
not there. Yeah, that's a
the
good
stories
one.
could go on and on forever. Such an intricate.
But you know what? It sucks because they don't remember half of them. They remember parts of them. We remember parts of them.
Yes.
But I remember getting the slapped on the mouth or the snap.
Yeah.
You know, because, like, I don't want to say I have a sharp tongue or whatever, but like, sometimes my responses are quick enough.
I'll say it for you.
Whatever, man. whatever. So I remember that, like, I would get the slap across the ear or the ear pinch. Oh, that was the worst.
Oh, man.
Funny enough, as we talked about it earlier, becoming our parents, my kids, like, they see me, if they don't listen, and worse, if their mom says something to them, and it's one of those things. You sure you can hear me right now?
Yeah.
It's the same dynamic of like, if I can hear you, if I can hear your mom, that means you should be able to hear her.
Yes.
They don't move. It's like some type, like something comes over me that I'm like, yo, the level of to me, it's a level of disrespect.
Yes.
And as men, you know how important respect is.
All right, 100%.
And I'm like, yo, don't you dare. Sorry, daddy. No, daddy, sorry. I didn't get the ear ring like that. It was more like the sharp tongue. It's like, who do you think you're talking to? And it's like, oh, not you. Sorry, mommy. But she'll say that she never did it.
Oh,
guaranteed. Yeah, for sure. Well, this was great. So you know what? I think we'll do. This is the part one.
Yes, because there's more we
can dive into.
There's more we can dive into.
Also, it allows us to talk to our parents, to have some feedback from them. Because
yes.
I don't know if you guys
like
do
the
this.
stories we can actually tell parents.
Right.
The stories we can tell.
Yo, because do your parents ever tell you something that you did that you're like, no, I didn't? And you're like, no way I did that. And then you'll be, for me, I'd be cracking up. Because I'm like, that I don't remember that, but apparently I did.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are hilarious. So we can put this as a part one. And maybe, midway through the year, we'll.
Maybe we should have them on the podcast with us.
Oh,
yes, that would be something.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All in favor of that not happening. I'm gonna say,
all right.
this was a great
We
episode.
call
Thank
this
you,
one.
thank you for joining us.
Part 1.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Thank
We
you for
appreciate
joining
it.
us. Appreciate
And
you all.
everybody have a good night. And
All right.
we will be seeing you guys soon.
Yes.
All right, have a good
What's
night.
the purpose? That's unscripted.
That's it.
Salute.
Salute. That was so funny.
Oh man.